Hello and welcome. Today I have a short, or maybe even not so short, Taoist or Zen story for you. Um, it doesn't make much sense to make a big difference of if it's a Zen story or a Taoist story. Taoism influenced Zen, as you know, a lot, and so I think it is for people who are interested in Taoism or in Zen. It makes no difference. So here is the story. One day, a master gave one of his disciples an empty sack and a basket full of potatoes. He said, "Think of all the people who have done or said something against you in the recent past, especially those you cannot forgive. For each of them, inscribe, carve the name on a potato and put it in the sack." The disciple came up with quite a few names, and soon his sack was heavy with potatoes. "Carry the sack with you wherever you go for a week," said the master. "We'll talk after that." Well, at first, the disciple thought nothing of it. Carrying the sack was not particularly difficult. But after a while, it became more and more of a burden. It sometimes got in the way, and it seemed to require more effort to carry as time went on, even though its weight remained the same. After a few days, the sack began even to smell. The carved potatoes gave off a ripe odor. Not only were they increasingly inconvenient to carry around, they were also becoming rather unpleasant. Finally, the week was over. The master summoned the disciple. "Any thoughts about all this?" "Yes, master," the disciple replied. "When we are unable to forgive others, we carry negative feelings with us everywhere, much like these potatoes. That negativity becomes a burden to us, and after a while it festers." "Yes, that is exactly what happens when one holds a grudge." "So how can we lighten the load?" "I think," the disciple said, "we must strive to forgive." Yeah, forgiving someone is the equivalent of removing the corresponding potato from the sack. How many of your transgressors are you able to forgive? "I've thought quite a lot about it, master. It required much effort, but I have decided to forgive them all." "Very well, we can remove all the potatoes then. Were there any more people who transgressed against you this last week?" The disciple thought for a while and admitted there were. Then he felt panic when he realized his empty sack was about to get filled again. "Master," he asked, "if we continue like this, wouldn't there always be potatoes in the sack, week after week?" "Yes, as long as people speak or act against you in some way, you will always have potatoes." "But master, we can never control what others do. So what good is the Tao in this case?" The master said, "We are not in the realm of the Tao yet. Everything we have talked about so far is the conventional approach to forgiveness. It is the same thing that many philosophies and most religions preach. We must constantly strive to forgive, for it is an important virtue. This is not the Tao, because there is no striving in the Tao." "Then what is the Tao, master?" Well, you can figure it out. If the potatoes are negative feelings, then what is the sack? Well, let me think. The sack is that which allows me to hold on to negativity. It is something within us that makes us dwell on feeling offended, I think. Yeah, the sack is my inflated sense of self-importance. And what will happen if you let go of it? Then then the things that people do or say against me no longer seem such a major issue. Yeah. In that case, the master said, you won't have any names to inscribe on potatoes. That means no more weight to carry around and no more bad smells. The Tao of forgiveness is the conscious decision to not just remove some potatoes, but to relinquish the entire sack.